Hey guys, Rob here for The Art of Wax, and today we're going to take a look at the 2020 reissue of the Swans album, Children of God. This album was originally issued in 1987 and made its first time back on vinyl just last year. First things first, this album sounds incredible, and my copy came in great shape. It had none of the many issues you've seen on a lot of new releases in the year 2020. Released this time around on Young God Records, which is Michael Guerra's own record label, this album comes in a nice heavy-duty gatefold that has the label's name embossed on the back cover. It's a nice touch. This album comes packaged with a digital download for the Swans live album, Feel Good Now. I've seen some Swans fans talking about how this was worth the price of admission alone for this album. Children of God is the fifth studio album by the Swans and was released in October of 1987. This album is now 34 years old and getting its first vinyl repress. At the time of its original release, the albums at the top of the charts included Michael Jackson's Bad, as well as self-titled debuts by Whitney Houston and Whitesnake. Although none of those albums have made it into my record collection, other notable 1987 releases include Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, The Replacements' Pleased to Meet Me, as well as Tom Waits' Frank's Wild Years. 87 had some great music, you just gotta look for it. As a casual Swans listener, this is the album that really hooked me. The music shifts from quiet to intense to something eerily sounding like it could come out of the Twin Peaks soundtrack. It varies so much that my wife entered the room 3 different times while I was listening to the album. Each time she asked me who I was listening to, and 2 of those times she actually asked if I had the record at the right speed. She knows me all too well. If you're not hooked on Children of God by the end of the first 3 tracks, then maybe this album's not for you. New Mind, In My Garden, and Our Love Lives are maybe the best 1-2-3 punch I've ever heard to start an album. Each track is so uniquely different, but it still pushes the album forward and pushes you as a listener. A lot of my love for Children of God comes from the emergence of Jarboe's vocals. It's a huge difference from 2 albums earlier when she was only listed as The Scream and no vocals were actually sung. If you're a fan of Jarboe's vocals but you haven't listened to this album with Neurosis, you should hit pause now and check it out. Not much to unpack here. The album artwork is a psyche tripped out design by Michael Guerra with help from Paul White at Me Company. This is the same cover you would have found on the 1987 original release, although the tapes and CDs did have different covers. The CD had a repress or a reissue that also went to that craft, very basic craft-like design that many Swans albums also have. The final word today is not a quote, but instead a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Matt at Something Else Records here in Kingston. He's the guy who turned me on to the Swans to begin with. And when I missed the first shipment of this record hitting his shop, he quickly placed a reorder for me before they sold out. And believe me, they have sold out. So if you do see one in your local record shop, I recommend snapping it up. A repress is expected this spring. Watch for it sometime in March. Until then, thanks for watching.